Hello and welcome. So today I want to talk about going pro, taking your dream and making it a reality. I have had a lot of dreams in my lifetime. I wanted to be a novelist. I wanted to be a writer of nonfiction books. Wanted to be a speaker and wanted to be a pastor. Wanted to be an astronaut at one point. I am not short on ambition. Also wanted to be a magician. For many years I wanted to be a magician. At this point, I want to give you some background, some history, so you know where I'm coming from. I was a magician. I was oriented toward doing magic for a lot of years before I got to college. I got to college and I started thinking about where am I going? What do I really want to do? Do I really want to do magic? I mean, I could have made the decision in college that I wanted to pursue magic. In the first 2 years of my college career, I was studying theater arts, I was studying directing, I was studying filmmaking, I was studying acting. So I was doing a lot of that. I was also studying journalism, and I was doing a lot of that kind of thing. And it wasn't until I got to Towson University that I shifted gears, and I really made a serious decision and a serious turning point. I turned away from the performing arts, and I turned toward ministry as a vocation, as a career. I met my wife at Towson University. We got married when I graduated, and then our honeymoon was basically spent on the road to Springfield, Missouri, where I entered seminary. And I was out there for 3.5 years. 3.5 years earning a Master's of Divinity degree to become a pastor. If that had happened for me, I think I would have been one content person. I wouldn't have wanted for anything else. The ministry is what I wanted more than anything, and it didn't happen. And I don't want to point fingers, and you know what? I mean, when something doesn't happen in your life, you really don't have anyone else to blame but yourself. There are certainly other circumstances, there are other factors that come into play, but you made a decision to give up at some point. That was your decision and you need to own it. So I did. I made the decision to not pursue it. Believe it or not, I mean, here I have an undergraduate degree in psychology. I have a graduate degree in divinity, an MDiv. And here I am, I'm back from seminary, and I'm deciding I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pursue it. Now that decision was many years in the making. I looked for work in the ministry. I couldn't find it. I realized I had to pay the bills, so I was out there doing anything I could find. I entered a branch manager training program, and this was with Vermont Federal Savings and Loan. And so I trained to become a branch manager, and I ultimately became a branch manager. And I ended up leaving banking because I was held up at gunpoint twice. And I started thinking, you know what, I'm kind of pressing my luck here. And sure enough, when I got out of branch management and into administration, there were some deaths. There were some killings in banks. You don't hear about it a whole lot because it's a federal crime. The federal agents come in, they investigate, but it was, at least at the time that I was doing it, it was a dangerous thing to do, and I got held up twice, and I thought I better shift gears. So I did, and I went into administration in the banking industry. And from there, I started really evaluating where do I want to go from here. And Zig Ziglar was my hero at the time, and I thought, you know what, I want to speak like Zig Ziglar speaks. And so I went back to school to earn a second master's degree, this one in education, an education-related field. And that prepared me for the career that I now have today, 25 years later. I'm the Human Resource Director at Richcroft Incorporated. I've been doing that for 25 years. I was originally hired to do human resources and training. So I was designing their training curriculum. I was delivering the training. And I had intended at the beginning to parlay that into a speaking career. And I still have those ambitions, but Richcroft has been very, very good to me, and I've enjoyed working for them, and they've enjoyed having me. It's been a good relationship. So I have no complaints whatsoever. I've had a wonderful career. I've had a wonderful life. Absolutely no complaints. But you're probably thinking, I want to be a full-time magician. And aren't you, David? Aren't you a full-time magician? I consider myself a part-time pro. I have a professional attitude. I look at it as a business, but I'm not earning my full-time living at it. But I want to give you some recommendations. If you're thinking of pursuing magic as a career, in fact, if you're thinking of pursuing any entrepreneurial career field, some of this is going to help you. Some of this material is specific to magic. Some of it is general and applies to anyone wanting to be in business for themselves, wanting to be an entrepreneur. I have a lot of respect for entrepreneurs. I think America was built on entrepreneurs. And I would love to, at some point, hang my hat on the entrepreneurial peg, so to speak. So I'm still working. I'm still working toward that goal. I have a nonfiction book coming out that I hope will be the foundation of a second run at a speaking career. And actually, this is going to be human resource consulting, because I've been doing it for 25 years, folks. I'm credentialed. I'm experienced. It's what I do. I have another website, by the way. It's called the HR Magician. I'm going to put the link down below. You can take a look at that. But that's my bread and butter. You know, it's my bread and butter isn't daviddellman.com, which is where this is being broadcast, and YouTube. But it's the HR. It's human resources. That's what I do. But if you're interested in becoming a full-time performer, whether a mentalist or an illusionist or a restaurant worker or a birthday party magician, I hope this helps you. And if you're looking at a career field that is entrepreneurial, whether it's magic or not, whatever it might be, maybe you're a baker, maybe you're a hairdresser, whatever it might be. I hope this helps you too, because this is about how to be in business for yourself. Now, the first recommendation I'd like to make, this is a pamphlet by Paul Gertner. Now, if you're not familiar with Paul Gertner, I consider him to be one of the foremost experts on the cups and balls. He does an absolutely wonderful cups and balls routine. If I can find that one, I'll put the links down below as well so you can see that. But this is a lecture that he gave, a magic lecture sharing 40 years of experience, what I wish I knew in 1972. 1972 is when he was starting out. It's an excellent book. I highly recommend it to you. He goes through and gives 16 tips on how to be a professional performer. But I wanted to share a couple of things in particular with you. Here he says, while it is true that at any magic convention there are those that have that dream of walking away from their real job, and that's in quotes, and doing magic full time, doing that is not always practical. It's not always possible. And it's not always the smartest thing to do. I'm going to come back to that being the not necessarily the smartest thing to do. But he says in another place in here, and I want to read this to you as well. He says, I wonder what I would have done if everyone who was complimenting me on my artistic and magic skills had suggested that with hands like those, I could be a surgeon. No one suggested that. And if I'd gone to college, who knows? I might have discovered that I had the brains and the ability to become a doctor. So if you discover that you have the skills to do all these fancy shuffles or the latest Dan and Dave videos, then don't limit yourself. Because if you are that good with your hands, then you might be good at using those skilled hands for some other things too. And I don't want you doing card tricks for a living if you have the skills to become a neurosurgeon. Let me read that again. I don't want you doing card tricks for a living if you have the skills to become a neurosurgeon. Because being a neurosurgeon that does card tricks as a hobby, that would be pretty cool too. Paul Gertner. You need to evaluate carefully what you want to do with your life. Your life is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift not only to God but everybody else around you. So think hard about what you want your mark to be. And you know what? You're never too old. You're never too old to reevaluate and reposition and take a new direction. You're just never too old to do that. As long as you have breath within you, as long as you have health, you can make a decision and go in a different direction, do something unique. Paul Gertner. Now, this book, It Takes Guts, Damn It, by Paul Dellman. Now, if you never met Paul Dellman is a magic dealer. I used to go to his lectures all the time, and I used to love it when he would say, "This prop is guaranteed for life. Yours or mine, whichever comes first." Used to love Paul Dellman. But he wrote this little book, and basically the title says it all. If you want to be an entrepreneur, whether a magic performer or something else, it takes guts. It really does. It takes courage. It takes guts. You got to get out there and do it. And that's basically what this book is. It's a kick in the butt to get you out there, to get you marketing, to get you selling, to get you working, because that's how you do it. It takes guts. Now this book is by Joel Bauer, and it's called Hustle, Hustle. Now if you don't like to read, he's got a video version. I think it's a DVD, it might be a VHS. I hope it's not a VHS because you can't play that anymore. But it's available in a video version. But Hustle, Hustle, The Magic of Business by Joel Bauer. I highly recommend it to you. I'm opening to this page because he goes into 7 marketplaces. He deals with the corporate side, the industry trade shows, the hospitality suites. Number 2, he deals with cruise ships and how to get work on the cruise ships. Number 3, he deals with nightclubs and comedy clubs. Number 4, the college circuit. Number 5, private parties. Number 6, shopping centers, malls, mall openings, special promotions. And finally, number 7, restaurants. So those are what he considers to be the big 7 markets. And he gets into not only how to get into those markets, but what to do, how to perform in those markets. And it's a wonderful book. It really is. It's sort of a benchmark book in our industry. Now, before I get to this one, this was the first book on magic marketing I ever got, and this is Denny and Lee. This was Denny's lecture notes. Denny did a lecture on the business side of magic, and he put it together in these lecture notes here. I don't know if it's still available. Let me tell you something right now. The Denny and Lee Magic Emporium that was in Essex is no longer because Denny sadly has passed away. And I did a video on that. And you know what? Denny was not only my friend, he was my mentor. And I hear his voice inside of my head all the time. When I'm contemplating these videos, when I'm teaching magic, when I'm performing, when I'm rehearsing, when I'm marketing, I'm hearing Denny all the time. Because I spent countless hours with this man. I stayed at his shop. I sat under his wisdom. He is was the most successful performer I had ever known personally. And so I benefited greatly by being his student and by being his friend and by sitting under his teaching. And a lot of his wisdom is inside of these lecture notes. What I was saying, though, is that the Denny Lee Magic Emporium might be closed, but the D&L Magic Shop, which is Denny's shop, has reopened in York, Pennsylvania. And so look it up. And these lecture notes might be, I'm not sure, but they might be available through that shop. And I hope that they are because it's a resource, and I highly recommend that to you. Now, this book here, The Wealthy Magician, it's fairly new. This book was published, let me see if I can grab the date real quick, 2018. Okay, so this is 2019. This was published just last year. Richie Roy wrote this book. Something that's rarely discussed in our field is salaries and what you should charge. And Richie Roy does not pull punches on that whatsoever. Here it is right here. I'll go ahead and read this to you. He says, I want you to start thinking. This is Richie Roy, The Wealthy Magician. I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful book. It's got a lot more in it than what to charge. But he's trying to give you a benchmark. If you want to make a living doing this, doing magic, or doing mentalism, doing performing, then you have to charge a rate that will allow you to make a living. But you can't just, and he makes this point as well, you can't just set your rate there. You know, you have to be worthy of that rate. You have to be out there in the marketplace earning that rate. So let me go and read this. I want you to start thinking of $2,000 for a corporate show as the average. $2,000 for the average rate of a professional magician. Likewise, if you're a birthday party magician, start thinking of $400 as the average rate. Now, this was 2018. Those are good fees if you can get them. If you're just starting out, you're not going to get them. You get those fees when the customer calls you, the client calls you and wants you for their show. That's how you get the fee. If they're not calling you, if you're not in demand, you're going to be competing with everybody else. And so your rates are going to be lower than that because the marketplace, the people that are looking for a performer are looking for the cheapest deal they can find. You know, when they don't care who they get, then they want the cheapest person they can find, and that's going to depress the rates in the marketplace, and you're not going to make as much, and you're not going to make a living. So in order to get to the level where you're making a living as a performer, you have to be in demand. How do you get in demand? You do a lot of shows. You do a lot of shows at a lower rate until people get to know you by reputation, and then they want you. They don't want just anybody, they want you. And that's when you're getting these rates. And by the way, I know performers who are getting a whole lot more than that, okay? A whole lot more than that. So there is a living to be made out there, and this is one of the books that will show you how to get there. The Wealthy Magician by Richie Roy. By the way, he has a YouTube channel. I'm going to put the YouTube links down below as well for him because he shares a lot of this freely on his YouTube channel. So take a look, check that out. I think you'll enjoy it. Now, let me move over here because you can read all the magic books you want and all the books specifically targeted to becoming a professional magician that you want. But there's a foundation in business and in entrepreneurship that you really need to have. And I hope these books will provide it for you. This book here, The Martha Rules. People sometimes laugh at me when I recommend this. I don't know what they're laughing at. This is one of the best books on business and on being an entrepreneur and being in business for yourself that you can possibly have. If you get just one book that I'm recommending, let it be this one. I'm telling you, this one is absolutely fabulous. Now, I'm not going to share everything out of this book. One of the things I love about the book is the practical approach. But let me just share this. This is from chapter 1. What's passion got to do with it? Chapter 1. Martha's rule number 1. Martha's rule number 1. Build your business success around something that you love. Something that is inherently and endlessly interesting to you. It is great to love one's work. Doing work that you enjoy gives you energy. You're imbued with enthusiasm. Your senses seem sharper. You wake up with new ideas every day. and with solutions to conquer the challenges that cropped up the day before. Build your business success around something that you love. Now, here's the thing I'd like to challenge you with. Do you know what you love? There's an old axiom. Magician, know thyself. Because here's what can happen. You see someone else's success, say a magician, and you want that. Naturally you do. So you go after it. And you attain a certain level of success. And as you begin to attain that success and you get closer and closer to that goal, something's not right. It just doesn't feel right. What it is that you're pursuing something, you're pursuing an ideal, but you haven't really evaluated if it's right for you. This is what Paul Gertner was getting at. You know, it's not always necessarily the best thing. You need to do what you love, and you need to know what you love, and that's not always an easy thing to do, because you know you've got the people you love that are important to you telling you what you love, whether or not that's true. You've got media and other influences saying that these careers are more valuable than these careers. It's not true. You need to look inside of your heart and decide, what do you want? And let me just say this. Each of you is an individual, and you have individual gifts. There's only one Paul Gartner. There's only one Denny Haney. There's only one Martha Stewart. And there's only one you. And when you figure out, what is my unique gift? How am I different from everybody else? What are the things that I'm interested in uniquely? And you begin to present that to the world. We all get to celebrate because you're bringing something new to the table that we all need. That's what an entrepreneurial life is built on. The Martha Rules. Check that out, folks. Entrepreneurial you. Now, you know, I don't keep a lot of dust jackets. I did keep this one. I didn't keep this one. Entrepreneurial You is written by Dorie Clark. One of the things I love about this book is it gives you extremely practical steps to take. For example, joining the Chamber of Commerce, right? I mean, how simple is that? But it's full of extreme, you know, try this. At the end of each chapter, she has this section called Try This, and she gives you these things, these action steps to take. And it's just fabulous. Entrepreneurial You by Dorie Clark. Check that out. Then, now, before I get to these two, I kind of want to finish with these. So let me get to this. Get clients now. Most of us, no, some of us, anyway, we love what we love, okay? I mean, we love to do magic. We love to perform. We don't necessarily love to go out and find customers. We don't necessarily love to sell. But, you know, Zig Ziglar once said, every human being is a salesperson. And to the extent, the last time I presented here to you, I was speaking on the fear of public speaking and how important it is to have speaking skill for everyone, wherever your chosen profession is. It's very important that you understand how to sell, how to get out in the marketplace and promote whatever it is that you're presenting. Because let me tell you something, if people don't know, they can't buy. If people don't know who you are and what you do, they can't contract with you. So it's the most natural thing in the world, and this is a practical step-by-step system for getting that done. And folks, I can't tell you how many books I have read on this subject matter, on marketing and sales. This is the very best book I've ever read on the subject. So Get Clients Now, C.J. Hayden. Check it out. You're going to love it. All right, so these two books. Now, this one's brand new. This one was published in 2019. It's written by Cal Ripken. I'm a huge baseball fan. I love Cal Ripken. I used to go down to Camden Yards and I'd sit there along the third base line and just watch Cal play. And I just thought Cal Ripken was fantastic. And he's written this book. He's written a number of books, by the way. And I've read every one of them. But this one, Just Show Up. You know, Cal has the record, man. He's the Iron Man. And he is the Iron Man because he showed up every day and did his job. Showed up every day and did his job. But I want to share something with you from this book. Here's what he says. There's no guarantee. Now he says baseball. I'm gonna substitute magic, okay? Because that's what we're talking about here. There's no guarantee anyone is going to have a career in magic. He says baseball, but in magic, anything, and you fill in the blank. Whatever you dream of doing, that's what he's talking about. There's no guarantee that you're going to make a living at it. Do it because you love it. That's what he says. Do it because you love it. If you do it because you love it, you might make it, you might not make it, but you're going to be happy. Okay? You're going to be happy. My dad wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, but he didn't make it. Instead, he stuck with the game as a scout, coach, and manager. It was what he loved, so he was happy and we were happy. Money, or the money we didn't have, just didn't matter. Doing what you love and doing it well, that's what matters. Cal Ripken, folks, doesn't get any better than that. So check that out too. Now this book, I'm a fan of HGTV, and I think the shining stars of HGTV are Chip and Joanna Gaines of Fixer Upper. They wrote another book. This one is the second of their books. This is called Capital Gains. It's by Chip Gaines. And basically this book, if this book doesn't get you up and moving, nothing will. It is so inspirational. But I did want to read something to you specifically from this book. I wanted to share it. This is page 128. He says, vocation is a powerful thing. Don't let it just happen to you. Chase after it, even if right now chasing feels a lot like limping. You're going to spend approximately 92,000 hours of your life working. So figure out what drives you and run, don't walk in the direction of making real, fulfilling work out of that dream. And even if that doesn't seem feasible right now, carve out a chunk of your day, week, and life for the thing that fills you up. Perhaps you can quit your day job. Perhaps you can't. I understand, but never quit your dream. Chip Gaines, folks, Chip Gaines. He's an amazing human being. And this book is an amazing book. It's called Capital Gains by Chip Gaines. And you won't regret picking it up. So, here's what I'd like to share with you. Years and years ago, I wanted to be a professional magician. I talked Denny Haney into meeting with me. It was my hope that he would convince my wife that this was a good idea, that this was a good business move. Denny was making, at the time, he didn't have a shop. He was making his living as a magic performer, not as a dealer. And so he brought us over. We went over to his house, and we sat around his dinner table. And he said to me, David, don't quit your day job. If you love magic, do it. Get out there and do it. And do it and wait until the business is there. Wait until you have the shows coming in. Wait until you're in demand. And then do it. Now, Paul Gertner said in his lecture notes, he said that he's gone through ups and downs in his career. He's been in demand, and then that has dried up. If you're depending on a certain market, and the most lucrative market is the business market, so you're depending on that market, trade shows and so on, and the economy starts to get a little rough. Let me tell you something, it's the first budget they cut. It is. So And he says, Paul Gertner says in his notes, you know, what if you're 50 or 60 and your market's drying up? You know, what are you going to do then? And I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I'm not. I want you to pursue your dream. But I want you to do it with your eyes open. Okay? If you make the decision that you want to do magic for a living, you're making the decision to become an entrepreneur. You're making a decision to become a business person. You're going to need to think about your health benefits. You're going to need to think about your 401k, your retirement. You're going to need to think about paying your taxes. So you got to put all these things together and you got to work them all out. And you have to make an intelligent business decision. I was talking to a guy once and he said to me, I was talking to him about some things I want to do entrepreneurially. And he said, you know what I want you to do? I want you to put together a business plan for me. I'm thinking, a business plan? I've never put together a business plan in my life. Well, he said, you know, it's the first thing you should do before you do anything else is put together a business plan. So I got a few books on business plan writing. I talked to a few accountants who knew something about that. And I put together a business plan. And it was so good. So good because it really helped me look at what are the business prospects for this idea. And so there's really no substitute for a business plan. And that's the subject of another video maybe. Anyway, I'm not trying to discourage anybody. In fact, just the opposite. If you read these books, especially the Chip Gaines book, Capital Gains, and the Cal Ripken book, and the Martha Stewart book, you read these books, and man, they're gonna light a fire under you. You're gonna get moving. You're gonna get working. And I wish you all the best. I want you to live your dream. I want you to be happy. I want you to live the life that you have imagined and then some. Go out and make it happen. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.